still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, the only thing that makes us all believe.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters and welcome to another episode of
Thank you.
How are you, George? You all right?
Fine, thanks. Yes, fine.
Good stuff. As always, we've got an hour of you asking questions to George. A few have already been emailed in. We'll go to that one first from Stephen Kennedy. Says, George, should Anthony Gordon be made to play out on the right wing as Barnes is at his best and most threatening when he's on the right? I feel we are weaker when Barnes starts on the right. He hardly ever tries to get to the byline with crosses and he comes in from deeper. If Gordon refuses to play right wing, he should be dropped. This might wake him up to think his World Cup place could be in doubt and get more out of him. For fitness, when Barnes is rested, Gordon could switch back to the left. Let's face it, Gordon's facts and figures the past year have been woeful and don't look like they'll improve anytime soon. And it's not because he hasn't been given the chance by Eddie. He's had more goals than most managers would have given him. What are your thoughts, please, George? And probably backs up a question as well from Jason Foster in the chat. He says, good afternoon, George and Steve. Do you think it's time to drop Anthony Gordon on the left and play Barnes and stick Alanga on the right to give the lad an opportunity to flourish? So we'll start with the wingers. George, what's your thoughts?
Well, to begin with, I wish Eddie Howe had never talked about his private conversation with Anthony Gordon, because it's the people are labeling Anthony Gordon as saying he won't play on the right, and that's nothing. I see and hear nothing to suggest that that's true. I'm of the view that Anthony Gordon is like so many of our players. If Eddie Howe said play in goal, he would play in goal. I don't think there's any issue about that for me. I do think, though, that in terms of Barnes, he's turned in some good appearances and scored some good goals, that he's entitled to think he should have a go on the left. So maybe there's a good reason. If Alanga was anything like the player he should be, he's the one that should be pushing both of them for a place in our team, because he's capable of playing on both sides as well. And I would love that to be the case, that Alanga was playing so well that he challenged both Barnes and Gordon for a fixture on the wing, but it's just not happening at the moment. On Sunday, the number of crosses that came in from Barnes, a couple of them from the right, never mind the left, that skidded across the penalty area and didn't end in the back of the net, was woeful, absolutely woeful. We really, a game where we did get crosses in and they just didn't end up in the back of the net. But as regards the wingers that we've got, I would like to see Anthony Alanga fit and doing his thing and pressing those other two for a permanent place in the side. And that would be the kick up the backside that Gordon and Barnes might need. But at the moment, Gordon, the problem for Gordon is that it's not a problem for him. He's now the established left wing for England. There's no question about that. Tuchel doesn't see anybody else. And of course, that makes him want to be there for us too. Not that he has a right to be by any means, but I can see why it comes. I really would wish that Eddie would look at how England use Anthony Gordon compared to how we use him, because it's not the same. Believe you me, if you watch the film of the games, and but Harvey Barnes has made a niche for himself. I mean, I think he's now scored 7 goals. I think it is, and the last few that he's scored have been superb. The 2 against Bournemouth, was it? Yeah, and then in other goals he scored have been superb. They're not chancy goals. They've been quite deliberate and quite nice. So I think Barnes has earned the chance to have a go where he feels his best, and that may just give Gordon the kick up the pants that he needs. But I keep repeating, I don't think for 1 minute that Anthony Gordon's ever said that he would never play on the right. He might well have said he prefers to play on the left, which is where I got from the private conversation he had with Eddie, which was dropped in a press conference. But from that, everybody in the dog's been saying, well, Anthony Gordon's refused to play on the right. And I don't think that's right at all. As I say, I honestly believe if Anthony Gordon was asked to play in goal, he would play in goal. Look at the number of times he's been asked to play centre forward when we haven't had anybody in the middle. And he's done it. And he's tried every inch. In fact, sometimes too hard. So I'm content that we've got 2, possibly 3 excellent wingers. If we can just get Alanga firing all cylinders to give the other 2 something to think about.
Okay, next question. Do we need to revise the team formation and tactics? This hasn't been a good season football-wise, and the little passing triangles in the final third just isn't doing it for us. What do you think, George, says John?
Well, there's a worry about the fact that we're not hitting the back of the net often enough. And some of the little passing triangles, you're right, are very frustrating. There are times when I'm in the stand, I'm sitting next to Steve Hasty shouting, "Put your foot through the ball" to somebody and anybody, and it doesn't look good. And however we try and paint over it, the combination of Wisser and Valdemar doesn't seem to work, and that's another issue. And yet, if you're talking about little passes in the final third, you look at Barnes' last 3 or 4 goals, and they nearly all come from very, very, very astute, very clever passes from Valdemar. The first goal against Bournemouth, I think, was an outside of the right foot pass that Bruno would have loved, never mind Valdemar. And his second goal as well, Gordon lobbed the ball over the defender. And that worried me a little bit because I thought he might get it blown up for a high foot, but it didn't. It went over. And as a drop, Valdemar has been pulled by a central defender, yet he still has the wherewithal, the ability to kill it stone dead for Barnes to bang it in the back of the net. So there are some things that are working. But I think I do agree with you. I think Eddie's got some work to do with what's happening in the final third, and particularly in the penalty area. We're giving chances away basically, and also, as I said on Sunday, that there are at least 2, and both were from the right, if I remember rightly. Barnes crosses that skimmed across their goal a yard from the goal line, and not a Newcastle shirt anywhere near, which is criminal, where the state that we're in. So yes, I agree that there is something to be done with how we're playing in the final third, because the rest of the teams has been doing quite well. I mean, we could have played for 2 weeks and Wolves would never have scored against our back four, five, whatever you call it. Yeah, you make a good point. There is some work for Eddie and his team to do in the final third of the field.
Question on the screen, George. If George could sign 3 players for Newcastle called George from any era and from anywhere, who would he pick?
From any era.
That's gonna test. Yeah, from any era.
Any era as well. Well, number 1 would be George Robledo, and we wouldn't have a goal problem. Number 2, I'd go back to an ex-Newcastle player who left us far too soon because of stupid circumstances, and that would be George Eastham. We nearly got this guy when we were looking for a centre half, and we got Frank Brennan, and that was the Rangers centre half and captain called George Young. But they ended up going for Frank Brennan instead. So there's 3 Georges off the top of my head.
George Best, says Andrew. Yeah, George Weir. Yeah, it would be nice. John Askew asks, amazingly, we can still have an excellent season, but it's on a bit of a knife edge, and a couple of good signings would help. Any thoughts, George? I mean, we do need signings, don't we, really?
The fact of the matter is, we could have a brilliant season. That if we'd have won on Sunday instead of drawn, we would have been really in the mix. I mean, it was the worst time to miss an opportunity, because all the teams that we want to be involved in lost. Villa lost, Everton of all things, and even City lost, for God's sake. You know what I mean? So it was a bad time to lose those 2 points. But we're still in there if we really put our shoulders to the wheel, and I'm still convinced that it will come right. I haven't given up, for example, on Anthony Elanga. I still think we'll get a showing out of Anthony Elanga, and it'll be sooner rather than later, because the kid must be fretting the way things have gone for him. When in fact, he's had a couple of opportunities early on in games. If he'd taken those, it might have been a different story, as have others. But there's no reason why we shouldn't have a very, very comfortable season, I think, this year, if we can just sort our bits and bobs out. As regard to signings, yes, I mean, I've said on other shows that I've been on, the injury demon has caught us again, and so we've got to protect ourselves, and at least 2 signings in would be my choice. One of a defensive one and one an attacking one. If we could get somebody to, some of the names I see in terms of defenders from Italy and France look quite good, but the big one for me would be somebody to help do tie the goals together. Somebody to tie the front 3 together.
Steve Middlemas, good afternoon. He says, George, do you think Eddie is being hung out to dry by the owners?
That's a difficult one. No, I don't think so. I don't think the owners would be that devious. They would be shown in other ways and what they think about things without being so cruel as to hang them out to dry. I think they would be saying, win this and that's it. I mean, just remind everybody, we're 4 years into it since the takeover. And when we were taken over, we were stone cold solid on relegation, possibly twice the way we were going. We were in such a mess. And here we are in 4 years, 3 visits to semi-finals, 1 cup win, twice in the European football, and almost into the final stages of the first time. And with a win tomorrow night, could be looking at the final stages of the European Cup this time. That's not bad. Does that really deserve being hung out to dry? I think they've got to show the back of them by in a sense by seeing that we do get some incoming signings. But on the other hand, if you listen to his press conferences, he's kind of played down the notion because he sees what's available and what the money's being charged, and does that how he wants to go. But I think we need people in, and that's the best way that PIF can support them. But I don't think they would be so well, nasty is the only word I can use as to hang Eddie out to dry. I think if they were really that upset about Eddie, he'd be gone by now. He wouldn't be any hanging out to dry. He'd be gone. And I think he's. I think they've realised that what the last 4 years has done from where we were when they came in. And who would have thought? Like even me, that died in the wool, cut my arm off, I bleed black and white. I didn't expect us to be where we are now in 4 years. It's still thrilling, still exciting for me, and I think it's still exciting in terms of what we could do this year. So no, I go back to your question. No, I don't think they would hang Eddie out to dry.
I think half the problem is that the Premier League is so poor this year that Newcastle last season would have been probably top 2, and that's why we're so disappointed. And I think that's why there's a big air of negativity around, and it does feel as if the money in the summer was wasted at this moment in time, and people just can't see light at the end of the tunnel. It's because the expectation levels have been raised, and that's why everyone is so disappointed.
Yes. But and who would have thought, in terms of the summer signings, who would have thought that we'd get somebody from Nottingham Forest who provided 20 goals nearly for Chris Wood, and then suddenly comes to us and doesn't look like he's laced his boots up right. He's been awful. It's the only way to describe it. Yes, he's had lots of personal things to deal with, but he's paid a lot of money to play football, though. And the other signings haven't gelled as well. The other thing is, you see, take Wissa. If Wissa had been like Wilson, our former centre forward, been injury prone, been injured every 6 months or 3 months or whatever, you'd have said, well, oh, there it goes again. But he's never been injured. He's never had a long-term injury. And yet there he goes to play for his country and as a Newcastle player. And he gets a long-term injury, which is a mixture of, it's more bad luck than good management. It is than bad management. And we have to live with that, and that's sad. Voldemort, well, I think people, we need to see how best we can use Voldemort again. The Germans, for example, 3 or 4 months ago, were virtually given up on the World Cup. They didn't think they had a chance. Well, suddenly they think they can win it. Why? Because they've got a centre forward. And who's the centre forward? Voldemort. They think, and I recommend you dig out a couple of snaps out of Germany's last couple of games and look at the goals he scores for them and how he scores them. It's just unbelievable that that's the same player. So it's sorting out how best we get out of the players that we've got, and we'll have no worries at all. But you're absolutely right, Steve. If this has been last year, we would have been banging on the door first or second.
Okay, let's get back to the questions. Gary says, George, we have reached the summer. The season's over, and due to overspending in January transfer window, we've got to sell a big player to meet PSR. Who would you sell?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. Yeah, tough one. Well, I'm going to be controversial. I would hope that our owners would stick their chests out and say to the Premier League, right, fine, we're not selling anybody, and see what they do. Because it needs something to change something. The way the rules are bent against us, we seem to accept it far too easily. If you push us hard and answer to your question that you asked, it could only be one of two people to get the sort of money you're talking about, and that's Tonali or Bruno. And I don't think Bruno would go anyway, and I'm not even sure Tonali would either. But they're the two that I would look at as the means of getting real money. But I would want, preferably, for our owners to dig their heels in and say, look, this just isn't fair. This is bent against us. Do your worst and see what happens. And if we end up in court with them, we end up in court, because I still think that's the route we should have gone down before now.
Okay, good stuff. Keep your questions coming. Question from Tom: would you play 4-4-2 to see if it works, George?
Oh, I would personally. I would have played 4-4-2 some time ago, because we've got both the players to do it and the players with the ability to carry it off. So as a personal choice, yes, I would have tried 4-4-2 by now. The question is, of course, is we've got a manager who's hung on his his own system and doesn't like changing it. But 4-4-2, I would have had to go some time ago, yes, because we've got the players that could handle it, and they're both at the back and the middle of the field. We've got the players easily, and two up front. Obviously, Wissa and Valdemar are the obvious choices, but it doesn't have to be them. It could be Wissa and Gordon, or Valdemar and Gordon. It could be. You could fiddle the two at the front, any two from four. But at the end of the day, it's a personal choice. If you're asking me, yes, I would have tried 4-4-2 long before now.
Okay, because we're not doing Talk of the Tune on Tuesday, Rob has supplied a video, so we'll have a little break, a little musical interlude before the adverts. Here is Rock and Rob's album review today.
This week's album is very, very close to me. This took me back to my teen years. Band called Claytown Troop. Available on album cassette from all good record shops. My introduction was this. If any of you need a lift back to Bristol, by the way, I've got room for 3. Rick's got room for 3. Everyone else can get in Steve's pants because they're so big. In fact, the whole club can go back in Steve's pants. That was a B-side to Prayer. The song was called Alabama. It was live back then. It was like, oh, it's a live version. Seen him twice in 1989 Carlton Studios in Edinburgh, which is no longer there, unfortunately. Love the cover to the album as well. It's like full of mystery. It's quite ghostly, sort of hidden realities, I think, in it. I think there's a theme though. So it opens with real life. Top drawer tribal drumming on this one. Good rack work on this. Nice keyboards as well on the back of it, not overdone. To me, it's like being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Sort of gang culture normalising the dark side of life, I think. It's quite gallopy this, so it's a good opener. Nice middle 8 section, really good, and it's if it's remind me of like a witness scene statement. And you've got Alabama, the one I've just spoken about. Solid, in your face, biker goth, alternative rock, whatever. They're up there. Teach Me How to Love You, Teach Me How to Care. The lyrics, I mean, Christian's lyrics are absolutely real. Straight from my heart, straight from experience, and straight from his own thoughts. Again, the vocals tested, tried, pushed, but with natural confidence. Nice guitar hooks on this one. Again, nice keyboard parts in the background. It's not overdone. You've got Hey Lord. Again, this is more like a spiritual connection, with the longing heart, sort of like filled with, love vibrations. And again, like I say, there's quite a bit of a Native American sort of like panpipes on this one. Brilliant bass playing on this one. It's like searching for answers, looking for closure, clarity on your thoughts, maybe experiences in life. Brilliant song. So that's Hey Lord. That was a single from it. Your Canvas Bag, never been opened. And you've got prayer vocals on this. And when I watched it live, I think it was October, November last year. The push, the passion of Christian's vocals on this, it was just mesmerising. I mean, I was standing like pretty really sort of tense up, but just feeling the delivery with it. It's brilliant. It's got keyboards on it that remind me of like buffaloes. I would imagine that's what it's to be. It's a bit like a short play about Native America. Again, the lyrics again, brilliant. It's like take me to the mountain high, and then you've got these keyboard parts, like buffalo sort of sounding. And you've got Wonder, brilliant song, very emotional, favourite song on the album. If I could drink the world dry, then maybe I could cry. Absolutely. I've been there myself, and very emotional, frightened to cry, let emotion out because you won't stop crying. Mid-tempo song, could easily be about relationships or a spiritual fight for searching again for peace in life, but being inexperienced in life, not knowing how to search for a direction where you want to be. Unusual line in this: sodomy, sodi olegamacy. I don't know what that means. Sodi olegamacy. Then you got Bury My Heart, another good song, strong song, siren intro, big explosion, dark keyboard parts on this, followed by a good drum intro, very thrashy at the intro, good vocals again, power chords, the guitar playing is brilliant, again it's not overdone, big push at the keyboards. Again, nothing's overdone on this. It's nothing like, that keyboard's too loud, or the drums. I mean, the mix on this album is really, really good. It is a really good mix. I think it was Ron Fair who produced this album on Island Records. They were on U2's label. It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant song. So then it's, again, the lyrics, it seems as soon as I found you, it was time to lose you again. So again, is it personal? Is it about relatives? Is it about a loved one? Is it about your first girlfriend? That's the thing. It's your own interpretation. Then you've got Hate to Hate. It's again straight in your face, dark rock for me. It's got a romantic side to it again. But you're saying, why doesn't she hate me? Why don't you hate me? It's to me, it's an obvious push against an unwanted passion or relationship. Maybe not knowing how to get out of a situation. Love Is, keyboards, again, good. And I do like when they play live, you still pick up the keyboards, again, not overdone. There's a good level with their live performance. Again, catchy guitar riffs at the start, really, really quite cheeky. The lyrics again, the only God is in your soul, could have been a big single, I think. So, re-released. You got Tell Me lyrics. Well, I was innocent, she was so experienced, spending the whole night together, One of those cheeky songs. Vocals again, direct, in your face, powerful, but it's never just straightforward. Up and down his ranges a bit, and pushing for where he wants to be, with what's in mind and inside with emotions. Backing vocals are really good. I do like the backing vocals on Claytown Troop. Again, not overdone. Song called, it's quite a difficult one to pronounce this, Chirichiokau. I think that's how you spell it, but I'm sure I'll be corrected. Very atmospheric, acoustic, sort of like a Spanish flamenco sort of style, haunting keyboards sitting at the back. It's softly spoken just now and again with the vocals sort of coming backwards, like it's drawing your last breath in. That's what it's like. But it is a band of Native Americans. It is a national monument. It's in a mountain range in Arizona. I just wonder if that's what the cover was based on, the sort of theme with Native Americans and, you know, the rebels, possibly a childhood imagery, as you will. Then you've got The Veil. We are going to be covering this song in our band. It's stunning. Again, very personal. But for me, pain, loss, experience. You know, the words spin the wheel and pick the place. I'll meet you through the veil. You know, is it being separated from a loved one, longing to meet again, see again, not in this temporary state as we are now. But again, it's great tribal work on this with the tom rack. Brilliant vocal range in the chorus, absolutely blows me away. But with Claytown Troop, I can't compare with anyone else. So here's a couple of pictures. Back in the day, and now back in the day, he's still got the cool swagger. It's still there, and cheeky chappies, and that was taken O2 in Glasgow. Called Claytown Troop. I think Christian done an interview with NME, which is New Musical Express, a clairvoyant, said you should call your band Clayton Troop. Clayton as in Adam Clayton, bass player from U2, but he's changed it obviously to Claytown Troop. But yeah, it'd be absolutely unbelievable if they could release something new. Fan base has always been there, it's always going to be there. It's a very, very good tribal following. Go out and tour through the Veil in its entirety. Thank you again, Sid, if you're watching. Get well soon, mate. And thank you for watching. Leave comments for me and recommendations for next week. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. As always, always a very good review. And yes, Sid's had a little bit of surgery. He's on the mend, a bit of knee surgery, so he'll be back on the mend. And just a little shout out for Supermac as well. Supermac's feeling a bit under the weather. His event this Friday has been postponed. So anyone who has bought tickets in the chat, that event will go ahead on the 30th, which is the following week at the same venue with Gibbo. But also alongside Peter Beardsley and Kenny Wharton. So we're combining the two events. So your tickets will count. The 23rd will, your tickets for the 23rd will be valid on the 30th. So you're getting double the amount of legends for your same money. So Voucher will have been in touch with most people because most of the tickets have been sold on Voucher. I have emailed anybody who's bought directly from us just to let you know that the event has been postponed for a week. Malcolm should be up on his feet by then and back. Nothing too serious with Malcolm, but he's had to pull out of all these events and he'll be missing the 2 games this week. So good luck to him. Anyway, we will have a quick ad break and then we will be back with some more questions for George. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. And a thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel, UK Coach Holidays, established 2020. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2026 tours, 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels, no interchanges, hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Website www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Big welcome to GC Competitions, a new sponsor. A day none of us. Okay, welcome back to Ask George. Yes, fully aware that Eddie's press conference is starting, but we will crack on with our questions. Got a great question from Alan. He says, Jinky Jim's birthday today, George. He's 78. Have you a favourite memory from his playing days?
Oh, several, yes. I mean, he's known largely because of his ability to dribble through players, lots of players, which is where he gets the jinky from. But also, people forget he had a rock hard shot. He had a really cannon shot, and I remember a game against, I think it was Arsenal at St James's. Very dull, sort of tied in midfield. He tried his hardest, and then just out of the blue, he got the ball about at least 10 yards out the penalty area, looked up and swung that left foot, and bang, it was in the top corner before the goalkeeper could move. And I think it was Bob Wilson. So that's the one that come to mind straight away as soon as you said Jinky Jim. But as I say, people remember him because of his dribbling ability, but he did have a deadly shot in either foot if he got near the goal. So that's Jinky Jim for me.
Andrew says, what did you think of the AFCON final, George?
Disgrace. And all of those that walked off because the other side got a penalty should get a very severe ban, if not a fine or both. We get into this. The trouble is, once something like that starts, somebody else is going to copy it. You know, it's ridiculous. Now, if they can't control themselves in a sensible manner, then some of the people involved in that, some of the administrators, for example, should not be allowed to have anything else to do with football. The person that took them off the pitch, the manager, whatever it is, he should be banned for life. It really, really was awful, unbelievably so, and spoiled. There was some good football in that match, but spoiled the whole thing. Really did.
John says, if next season you've got the choice of Europa Conference League or no Europe, what would you go for?
Oh, Europa Conference League. To have a fit foot in Europe has so many other things, and just being in it, a competition that's allied to Europe, I think it gets you credit down the line with other things that you get into. So I would say European Conference, in the hope that we might actually win it, to be honest. So yeah, I would still go for the conference.
Paul says, does George have a favourite strip that we've had over the years? He says, let's have an answer that isn't the 1996 shirt.
No, no, I think I've discussed this with Stephen in another place. I liked it when we had the pseudo Brazilian strip, the yellow shirt, blue shorts, and socks to go with it, and I thought we looked very smart in that. And there was another one. I was peculiar in the sense that at the time I think it was the only one. We had a one which was double yellow stripes, light stripe and a dark stripe, but both yellow, and I thought that was unusual as well. So, but the Brazilian strip was the one that I really fancied.
Neil says, I'm glad George didn't pick George Georgiados, who was rather forgettable in his time at Newcastle.
Certainly was, yeah.
John says, if you think Alanga will come good given time, how much time do you think he needs, George?
Oh, I think he's running out of time, is the honest answer. If we don't see something special in the next 2 or 3 games, I think we've got to think about what we do with him, because he's taken up a place and just not shown anything. If there was something, he's got into a couple of good positions, but he's not taking advantage of them. So, but I'm fingers crossed. But it needs to happen in the next 2 or 3 games. We can't go on forever and ever hoping.
Who is your favourite Newcastle United goalkeeper of all time?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. I've got lots to choose from, all great ones as well. Oh, I think it's a history lesson. I'm afraid Ronnie Simpson. I have to say I was a favourite of Pav was a favourite of mine as well in the modern era. As was Shea Given. I like Shea Given. But overall, because of how he was, Ronnie Simpson was probably my best. Wasn't the biggest, but made up for it in other ways. tremendously fit character. So he could learn to leap higher than anybody else. He actually took ballet lessons, would you believe? And it made him really, really athletic in the box. And of course, he got the nickname the Black Cat, as he was the first to get the nickname the Black Cat. But yeah, Ronnie Simpson. But I'd be happy with Parvo, Shea as well. We've had some really good goalkeepers.
George, did you have a favourite referee in your time? Says Tom.
Oh, in my time, yeah, was the king of referees at the time, called Arthur Ellis. He was the only British FIFA. He was the first British FIFA referee, I think, and the respect that Arthur Ellis had both on and off the field was tremendous. I don't think there's anybody like him now, even.
Okay. When George was younger, did they call him Boy George? Did you have a nickname, George?
Yes, it was given to us by a school friend, and I don't know why. He never explained why. Mitch got changed into Mitter, M-I-T-A, Mitter. So you had people shouting Mitter and wondering who the hell they were shouting at. When it was me, it was Mitch. But that's what it was. My father always called us Geordie, as did one or two other members of the family. But Mitch or Mitter when I was really young, and that's how it stayed. If I was to, I'll tell you who I still see occasionally is Steve Watson's dad, Kingsley Watson, and we were in the same class together. And if I was to see Kingsley in my street now, when I went to the front door, the first thing he'd say is, "Hi, Mitter." That's what he would say.
Robert Maltman, good evening. Which player does George think is an underrated player for Newcastle and who doesn't get the credit and historical relevancy that he deserves?
Oh, goodness, that's a really deep one. If you're allowing us to go longer, deeper, I think there's been a number of players who contributed so much. Well, off the top of my head, the first one that comes to mind is somebody I really like because of his style of play and his attitude when he was captain. That's Jemaili. I don't think Jemaili got the recognition that he should have had. We've had others who were really far back, going to the cup final teams. I mean, Bobby Cowell was regarded as the best right back in the country by everybody except the FA. Because Alf Ramsey was the England right back, Bobby Cowell didn't get a look in, and most people think he should have done. And then in more recent times, I think John McGrath at centre back was never given recognition outside of Newcastle that he was entitled to, and getting into modern times. Yeah, well, there's so many running through my head now. It's come on, fullback. It's Frank Clark. I don't think Frank Clark got the real recognition he deserved, because he was really steady, and showed when he left us, he was still a good fullback and a steady and influence. And yes, I think Clarkey didn't get the sort of recognition he deserved.
Okay. Did George ever get seasick during his time as a naval architect, or did it not involve going to sea much?
No, I've been to sea quite a lot, and touch wood, fortunately, it was never a bother. No, I never was seasick to any degree, even in really bad weather. I mean, I've been in weather which was horrendous. I mean, when I did some work with the Royal Navy, it was on a Leander-class frigate, and I was doing some measurements on the propeller shaft on this Leander-class frigate, which meant I was right in the bottom of the boat. and they were driving it into a force 10 out of the channel into the Atlantic to see which bit of the ship broke first. They were deliberately trying to break the ship and see which bit broke first. And I managed that without being sick. So perhaps if I'd been up top, because the lads that were doing work up top said that it was we were crashing into the waves so much that it felt more like being in a submarine than a ship. But no, I've been touch wood, very lucky not to have been seasick.
Okay, yeah, Rob says, great shout out with Frank Clark. He would have said kill Klein, but I am younger than you, he says. Ask George something small that annoys him more than it should. Mine is level 7 being referred to as the away end when there is more home fans up there than away.
Yeah, well, yes. Yeah, that's not a bad one, actually. It's and I'd like them to do something more imaginative with the screen for the TV screen high up in level 7. If there was some other way of making that more accessible to fans than they do. The rugby league people do, but the way they do it, they lose the Gallagher stand and so on. So yeah, that's one thing that annoys slightly. I'm trying to think what else that immediately comes to mind. Oh, and the I should have thought of it straight away. The pre-match music is such a dog's breakfast. I mean, and control of it is difficult to see. I mean, the best example to give you is most recent example I'll give you is when we got the bad news about Kevin Keegan's illness, and the fans in the ground were singing "Only One Kevin Keegan," and they drowned them out with "Local Hero."
Yeah.
Now, as much as I like Local Hero, that's the last time I would have played the bloody thing because I wanted to hear about Kevin Keegan, So that kind of thing is because as people know, it's when I go to the match, I like the match to be an occasion. Well, then little things just kill the occasion, don't they? I mean, it's just a waste of time.
John Askew says, George, am I right in thinking that we've still got the right owners, but we need those in the corridors at St James's Park to step up? The sooner the better for me.
Yes, that's one of the things I'm hoping that'll come out of our new CEO's 100-day exercise. I gather there are people already on the way out the door, but there's still little bits in there that and people in there who still think they work for Mike Ashley, and until that's gone, we can have the best owners in the world, and they'll try and run the thing their way. It's most irritating. So I'm hoping in this first session with our new CEO there'll be some major changes in how things happen and how things are run. Because the annoying thing for me is that some of the things are the things that interfere with fans. I'm not going to go into the dreadful ticket argue, but that's the kind of thing I'm thinking about. Is there's some things that happen in at the moment which shouldn't, and it's a disgrace that they do. And I'm hoping that our CEO at last sees them and starts to sort them out. And you're right, it needs somebody from PIF, if they're not already there, to go in the place and see how it happens and to talk to people, not the so-called fab, because it only get the answers from them, the answers that they're expecting. They'll not get somebody who'll be the critical friend because they're frightened to lose their tickets. Yeah, there's still things to be put right. And if it were me, I'd be looking for somebody in PIF who's got a reasonable knowledge of football and how it works to actually, go into St James's and watch how it works and listen to how it works. I mean, I was very impressed. I don't know where they've gone. I was very impressed with the people. I remember I did a little video, Steve, for them when they first took over, and I was very impressed with the people that came with that, and wondered if they would take the right messages back. But there's still work to do. Yes. Short answer to your question. Yes, I do think we've got the right owners, because financially there isn't anybody who got any more money than Piv. And secondly, their commitment is to sport generally, and with football near the top, and especially as they're heading to this 2030 World Cup thing. And I'm convinced that they intend and hope to God that we'd be somewhere near the top by then, so that they can trumpet us. Because I gather from friends in Saudi and friends like and my son who visits Saudi and Stu who see on here, that when they go there, they now see in the malls and around the shops lots of evidence of Newcastle United. And when our chairman, Al Mariah, speaks at any event, whether it be golf, whether it be tennis, whether it be God knows what, boxing, if he can get Newcastle United into his speech, he does. So, all of that tells me that we've got the right owners. It's just a case of for us here in Tyneside, making sure that those working inside the halls of St James's Park are doing what's necessary for the fans and to take it forward.
Ian's suggestion that maybe I should sing pre-match, which, speak to me agent, Ian, if you want to get us forward. I'm more than happy to do that. Jason Foster suggesting, what about pushing Lewis Hall further forward to create chances, George?
I think that's Lewis Hall's destiny, to be perfectly honest. I think that's what will happen to Lewis Hall. I've got a sneaking fancy that that's where even Eddie sees Lewis Hall. His ability on the ball is close to second to none, especially his close ability when you see him dodging tackles and all the rest of it. He seems to have a nose where to put a good ball through. So it wouldn't surprise me if Lewis Hall ends up in the midfield somewhere rather than at left back, and we have another left back, and that would please me, because he's a superb little footballer. And don't forget, when he came to us from Chelsea, we all had this debate, didn't we? That Eddie was training him to be a fullback, Eddie was training him to be a midfielder, Eddie was doing this, doing that. All Eddie was doing was trying to get him to learn his trade, and what a good job he's done of it. So yes, I'd be happy to see Lewis Hall move forward.
George, what's your thoughts on set pieces, which are so poor, especially the corners? Why all charge on? Surely big lad at the back always, says Tim.
Well, if they didn't need the evidence of that, they got it in the cup final, because if it hits his head, he's unplayable, Dan Burn. But so are some of the others now. Chow's no slouch either. And how many goals has Fabian Schär scored with? We're supposed to supposedly have this set piece coach. I see very little that's being brought out that makes me smile. The most dangerous corners that we have, and there's three of them that can do it. You can have Bruno can do it, Tonali can do it, and young Miley can do it. Take a corner that ends up underneath the crossbar, so that the goalkeeper's got to get hold of it, otherwise it's in the net. But we only use it, we'd use it now and then. And as all the other things that they do. The other thing about set pieces, when the opponents have a corner against us, I would immediately stick at least one, if not two, of our speed merchants just inside the halfway line to confuse their defence, and take at least one or two defenders out of that melee that happens in the middle to thin it out, and with a goalkeeper that can get hold of the ball, it's a potent weapon. You could have two attackers bearing down on their goal in seconds with the right attitude. So there's lots about set pieces, but the key answer to the question for me is we've got a set piece coach. I see no evidence of it. Very little evidence at all. All of the, we've a number of people who are good at set pieces, but nothing brilliant comes out of it. And when it does, it's been the big Dan Burn at the back.
Steve Middleman says, do you think Alanga was signed with the thought of playing with Isak, and that's effectively why he's not performing?
Oh, I think that's true. And the fact that he's Isak's best friend, I think, went a long way with that as well. I mean, people forget he's not just in the Swedish team with Alanga. They're good buddies. They went on holiday together and all the rest of it. So yes, I think that was part of it. But on the other hand, he didn't have Isak at Nottingham Forest. He had Chris Wood, and he made Chris Wood look like a pretty good centre forward, which he was actually. But it was no doubt the help he got from Alanga that made his 20-odd goals that season. So yes, I think there's a mismatch in there somewhere. The wider point for me is that I don't think we realise, even now, all of us, what sort of a kerfuffle and anxiety and upset what Isak did in the summer has caused at our football club. I really don't think that we imagined what was going on inside that football club when that was all going on, because I don't think it was all as easy peasy as it's been made to look like. I think there was quite a bit of infighting. It's funny how stories come out, but I hear a story when there was a big discussion about Isak in the dressing room, and just before he went away, and Bruno had to be pulled off him. Now that tells you something. That tells you something. But that's somebody whispering in my ear. I don't even know if it's true. But I don't think we ever have realised how much turmoil that caused.
Rob has just inspired my question, says Ian. Which song would you say represents our season so far?
Oh dear, which song?
I'll say Talking Heads, The Road to Nowhere. That's how I feel at the minute.
It's not a bad one, Steve. Not a bad one.
And I mean, I just feel at the moment Newcastle are in a transitional period after Isak, and that's why I say that. And it's not a negative; it's factual. Well, I think. You watched the fans forum back last night when you got in, and I had my say because you weren't on last night, and I don't think I was over. I don't think I was over the top. I certainly didn't pick any players out. And I seesaw the jam, says Jason. Some good ones actually. But yeah, I just think that's where we're at.
That one was in my mind actually.
Yeah. It's such a difficult, somewhere over the rainbow, says Ian.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good ones. We'll finish off, George, with what's your prediction for tomorrow night? I think you've already given it at the weekend, but have you got a prediction for the PSV game tomorrow?
Yes, we'll win 3-0 tomorrow night.
3-0, there we go. Yes, and rest in peace, David Young, who was unused sub both games versus Hereford, the infamous game, of course, and for Sunderland at the 73 Cup final, another one who has passed away this week. So,
and another unsung hero, I have to say. I don't think David Young ever got the recognition that he deserved. He was a better player than many people realised, I think. That's sad news.
Great show. I'm back tomorrow afternoon, 12:30 for a 45-minute show with Ben Jacobs. He hasn't been on the show since the last transfer window. We'll see whether he's got any info on any incomings and outgoings. So 12:30 tomorrow afternoon, back with Ben Jacobs. George, thanks very much as always.
Thank you, everybody, for your questions. It really is a joy to do it and talk about one of the things I love best, Newcastle United, and the people that love Newcastle United.